Peterborough's community radio station, Salam Radio, 106.2 FM.
Hello and welcome to Salam Radio 106.2 FM. You're listening to Faiza from the Raham Project. I'm your local midwife and you are on the Midwifery Insights show. I'm so excited if you're out there listening, whether you're listening right now live or if you're planning to listen back to it later. But I want you to know that you can get in touch with us on the show. All you have to do is call or text on 01733 602 133 or email us on info@salamradio.co.uk. You can comment on the Facebook thread and that will be shared on our Raham Project page as well as the Salam Radio page. So today is such an exciting day. I have the most wonderful lady sat in front of me and I'm so excited about this show. And every guest that comes always tells me, "Faiza, I'm so nervous." But you're going to get such insightful information from this woman. So I want you to join us as we delve into the invaluable role of what a doula is. We have a very special guest, Shabana Najib. She's a local mum, a doula. And I want you to listen into all of the amazing insight that she has when it comes to supporting families around the time that they are having their babies. So whether you're a mum-to-be, a seasoned parent, or simply curious about the magic of doula care, this show is here for you. So, Shabana, assalamu alaikum. How are you this morning?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, Shabana. So, Shabana, I think let's start because we want to talk about what doulas are, because this is essentially how me and Shabana met. We met through the birth world, and I very vividly remember the first breakfast we had in town, Yumi and Zainab, who is also a local doula. Tell me about your role as a doula. What is a doula for the people that are listening?
So doulas are like a support network, or we could call them a helper or a caregiver for mums when they are pregnant. So you support them during pregnancy, you support them during their time of birth, and even postnatally. So we're like caregivers. We offer them lots of emotional and physical support during this time of stages in their lives. And also we offer them information-based evidence during pregnancy. So when an issue does arise, they can make like an informed decision and decide what's good for them. So we're not medical trained people, but we're there to give them a lot of emotional and physical support, as well as providing information. So mums can make like an informed decision going forward in pregnancy and birth.
I hear you. And do many people use doulas, Shabana? Do you know of many people in our communities that use doulas, or is this something that's starting to happen a little bit more now?
Yes, so I trained in 2020 over COVID, but these last 2 years have been really busy, and I have seen the uptake of doulas, especially in the Asian community as well. It's becoming really popular.
Is it?
Yes.
That's really interesting to hear, because doulas is something I've always been aware of as a midwife. Okay. And I think we really complement each other when it comes to working with women in labour.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that, working with midwives as a doula?
I've had different experiences. So some midwives are amazing, especially on the midwifery-led unit. You know, I connect and bond with them really well. It's like we're both working together as a team to support these mums. They really understand the mum. They listen to mum. They follow what the mum wants in her birth. So, you know, I'm there to support and advocate for mum, and some of the midwives are amazing. But it'd be nice if all the midwives were like that. So I've gone to like delivery suite and there's been midwives there, but they're very busy on just typing away or writing information on the computer, and they're not as hands-on as the midwives in other units of the hospital. So it'd be really nice if I feel like all the midwives were like that and all understood and listened to mums about their choices and how they wanted their birth going forward. So I've had different experiences. Some have been really positive. Some have been a bit negative, but you know, we're there to support the mum and make her journey as easy as possible. So I do really enjoy working with the midwives. You know, sometimes they may not feel that. They might feel, oh, you know, what's she doing here? But I am there to work with the midwife, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. So how does the role differ from what doulas do and what midwives do? How does the role differ?
So midwives give they provide medical information, and they're trained to do that. Obviously, they've gone through university, they've got their degrees. So but doulas don't. I never give any medical information, and I make that clear to mums from day one. I will find and provide them evidence-based information. So if my mum has maybe, let's say, for example, gestational diabetes, I'll go and find information for her. She can read up on it and make like an informed decision going forward of continuing her pregnancy and her birth. We give a lot of emotional support to these mums. So we're always there as a listening ear for these mums, you know. So whenever they want to talk, they can pick up the phone. We'll meet up during pregnancy. We'll go for a cup of tea. So it's consistency, you know. Throughout the pregnancy, I get to know these mums really, really well. So, you know, they do see their midwives 2-3 times during pregnancy, and sometimes they're not seeing the same midwife. But I'm on this journey with these mums from the day they're pregnant. So I get to build that connection with them, that trust, that bond. So by the time they go into labour, you know, they're really comfortable around me. I know exactly what they want, and I support them with their decisions.
I completely hear you. And continuity of care is something that we have loads of science and data around that suggests that it improves outcomes for families.
Yes.
So if you have the same care provider throughout your pregnancy, birth and post-birth period, you find that women tend to report that they have a better care experience. If they have any concerns, they're often more heard. And also, medically speaking, it increases better outcomes. So you're less likely to have a preterm baby just by having the same person caring for you. And it sounds like doulas are offering something similar to that, but without the medical support.
Yes.
As it's more the holistic, emotional, psychological support.
Yes, definitely. Because obviously, this is it's a really important journey. You know, being pregnant and having a baby. You know, there's a lot of first-time mums I've worked with, and they need that extra support emotionally. We're there to listen to them, to support them, to encourage them. And I feel like mums really need that. You know, midwives, bless them, you know, they've got their job to do, and they probably have 10 minutes with a woman or 15 minutes, and then they've got to see the next mum that's coming in. So they haven't got that time really to build connections and trust and that relationship. So as doulas, we have a lot of time for our mums, you know, and we really reassure mums. We give a lot of love to these mums. You know, we're really compassionate. We're not judgmental. And I think that's why we bond really well.
Yeah, I hear you. All such important things. And actually, I slightly envy that. I do wish that as a midwife, I could give as much time as a doula gives. And actually, that's partly why I always work on birth, like either a birthing unit or on a labour and delivery suite, because I feel like that's the one time I can give one-to-one care and stay with them through their birth journey and support them through that. And I really love the continuity of care aspect of it. And I think a lot of midwives really do want to practice in that way.
Yes.
And I think most of us, when we started the profession, we really wanted to be with the women from their pregnancy, during their birth and after birth. And I guess the challenge that we have is the volume of women that we have to probably see. Tell me what the difference between a doula is and, like, say, your sister or your mother. Like, how do you slightly differ in that aspect? Or do you think it's quite similar?
So the mums I talk to, they have a lot of family support around them in terms of sisters and mums. But some mums tell me that they're just not comfortable expressing themselves fully to maybe a sister or a mum because they feel sometimes they might get judged. Because sometimes the mums will come up with, oh, we had this many kids and we got on with it and we did this and we did that. So they're very emotionally attached because they're family members. I haven't got that certain attachment. And so I think when mum is birthing and I see a lady in pain, I know that's part of her birthing journey. As a mum, we'll probably have a meltdown and cry and say, oh, my daughter, she's in so much pain. So as doulas, you know, we can still continue the care with a very clear head because we haven't got that attachment as a mother or a sister. So we're still quite professional. We've got our clear head and we can still help them with their choices that mums want. So I think it's a lot of mums do tend to book me or hire me is because they feel like I will do a better job with them in terms of having a sister or a mum because they'll get too upset seeing them in that situation.
Interesting, because this is something I hear all the time in our community, and I'm talking about the South Asian community, where when grandmothers or the maternal mother comes with the person in labour, the nani is more upset.
Yes.
That the mother is in pain than the mother is. And actually, quite often, the grandma had well, definitely more than one or two children.
Yes.
They came from, they usually had larger families, but when it comes to their daughters, they really struggle to see them in labour.
Yes.
And I've noticed this even with breastfeeding as well, that they're often the first ones to say there's not enough milk,
Yeah.
even though they've probably breastfed their own babies.
Yes.
And I guess this is probably part of how, women forget. So we're designed, aren't we, to forget the pain of labour.
Yes.
We forget the intensity of that period of
Yes.
parenting. And then we get later into the journey, and what happens is we kind of look at it very objectively, like, even though I did it, it's too hard for my daughter. But actually, women are very strong.
They are.
And for them to do what they have to do, we have to give them the space and the knowledge to do that.
Of course, of course. So that's why a lot of mums tend to book doulas instead of taking family members with them, because maybe they've had an experience as well with a family member and it wasn't what they wanted. So the midwives are concentrating more on the sister that passed out instead, and then left the mum, bless her, birthing. These are some of the things the mums tell me. So some have had bad experiences, so they prefer to take someone that's going to have a clear head, that's not emotionally attached like that, with them. So, and it's really nice because I've seen so many different births, but nothing really phases me, and I'm just there to support this mother, make her journey as easy as possible. I want her to remember it as a really good experience, so she's going to want to have more kids, in future, and say, actually, my birth was amazing, and I'm going to do this again, and this is what I encourage these mums. Mums just need a few words during pregnancy, I feel. They need someone to hold their hand, they might need a cuddle, just these reassuring words, because us women are really strong women, and we do get these babies out.
We do. We absolutely do. I completely agree with you. So, say years ago, when do you think we had doulas in our community?
Well, going back to Pakistan, when my mum had her baby, she was saying there used to be a lady in the village, and she would come to your house.
A dai.
A dai, that's it. They call them dai, yes, that's it. And then they would come and help this mum have this baby, in the house. So I think we've always kind of had it. It might not have been called a doula, they called it dai back in those days.
Yeah.
But I think there always has been, to be honest, from where we've come from. And I'm sure in other parts of the world as well, there has been.
There must have been. Actually, interestingly, you just reminded me of something, because my mum always speaks about her birth in Pakistan with me, which is her eldest child. And she had a dai looking after her then. And although they have huge skills like a doula and recognise that holistic care, they have some insight into like the medical side of things.
Oh, okay.
Like they do practice a little bit, like they can assess a woman in labour to see what's going on.
Yes.
So they do play this kind of dual role. And it's really interesting because it just instantly reminded me of, there was a time when I travelled to America to this place called The Farm. And The Farm is this community that was created by this really well-known midwife called Ina May Gaskin. People have different views about her, but she is very well known amongst the birthing community. And essentially, they created huts all across this farm where women would come to Shabana when they're 36 weeks pregnant, and they would have all their antenatal care. The midwives were in like a hut next to them.
Wow.
And then what would happen is when they go into labour, then the midwives would come to their hut, they'd give birth to their babies, and then after a couple of weeks of postpartum care, they would just go back to their life again. And I must have gone in like 2012 or 13, and there was an Amish community there that we visited, and there was a midwife named Millie or Molly, and she was explaining to me how she's learned all of these skills of being a midwife, but really she's more of a doula.
Oh, wow.
And she couldn't explain the medical terminology I knew, but the background understanding, she really had a good understanding. So, for example, if I said this is this many centimeters dilated, she could tell me, well, okay, well, I check and it's probably, my fingers are this much open.
Yeah.
So she was saying the same thing. And it just reminded me in Pakistan or back home for a lot of South Asian communities, how if they do have this dai who's the birth support, they might end up having a bit of a dual skill, but it's that emotional support that's very important.
Yes, very, very important. And that's something I feel like midwives just haven't got the time to give to these mums. So, when mums want to have a little bit of a cry and they want a cuddle, we're there for them, We're there really to mother the mother, as they say. We're there for whatever the mum wants in her journey of birth, pregnancy, postnatally, So we do offer a lot of that. And we're really hands-on as doulas. We love massaging the mum. Mums love massages. I've always got oil in my backpack, my doula bag. They absolutely love the lower back massage. So each contraction, They want a nice massage as the contraction's going, and they find it really helps them through that contraction, you know. So we're very hands-on, and we're there just to make this journey as easy as possible for these mums.
Very important role that you play. So I just want to let everybody know we're 15 minutes into the conversation, so we would love to hear from you about the topic that we're discussing. We're talking about doulas today with Shabana. And Sabila, just want to say, well done, Shabana. You do amazing work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We agree with you. She does do amazing work. If anyone is listening, just remember you can connect with us by either calling or texting in on 01733 602 133 and email us on info@salamradio.co.uk. Now, I just want to move on, Shabana, and probably talk to you about why did you actually become a doula? What made you become a doula?
So I grew up watching my mum supporting my sister-in-laws, new daughter-in-laws that had moved into the street, that have had a baby. She was always sending them healing food round, making the halva and all the special healing food for them. So I grew up watching my mum do this, and I thought, oh, how lovely is that, always supporting and helping others. And then as I became older myself, I kind of took that role on as well. So I was helping a lot of people in the community that couldn't speak English. I'd go with them to their appointments and other things in the community I'd go and help them with. And then as I got married, I supported friends that were pregnant, that had pregnancies out of the blue. So I'd go to their appointments with them. I'd go to every scan with them, and I have this passion of just supporting people, and mums especially, you know, being there for them, because I know it's such a hard period, you know, being pregnant, having a baby, there's so many emotions going on, and supporting mums is, I feel I've just have such a passion I wish I could support the whole world, you know. Sometimes I feel like, you know, I want to carry everyone's burdens, but you know we can't. But, you know, I've always had a passion from a really young age, and I think watching my mum only, you know, confirmed that that's exactly what I want to do as well. So, and that's when I did my training in 2020. I saw this come up on Facebook, that there's an opportunity to do a bit of training and support mums during pregnancy and birth. And I thought, actually, this is exactly what I'm looking for.
Oh, that sounds fascinating, Shabana. That sounds really fascinating. And I wonder if your own birth experiences influenced that at all, because you obviously have 3...
Yes, I've got 3 boys.
Children.
And yes, my first birth wasn't as what I wanted. I went in not knowing a lot about pregnancy, about birth. I think you're quite naive, you know, it's nearly 18 years ago. So I went in, and I wish I had made a lot of changes going back now when I think about my birth and how I didn't get the support emotionally or physically, and I was kind of just left to birth this baby, you know, and no one came and checked on how I was feeling and what I wanted, and no one asked me any of those questions. And that was another reason why I thought, you know what, going forward, I don't want these mums to go through what I went through with my first especially. Second and third, I think I did a bit more reading. I kind of knew what I wanted. But I know there's mums still today that haven't got a clue. They don't know what they really want. They don't know who to turn to when they do need that extra bit of support or information. And I thought, you know, I want to make this birth experience really special for these mums, you know, and I want them to remember it and be really happy about it when it comes to their mind. I think, actually, I had such a great experience, you know, and they talk about it so happily. Like 18 years on, I feel like sometimes I'm a bit traumatised still about my first birth. So when I do think about it, I think, oh gosh, I should have made these changes, or I wish this didn't happen. And I don't want mums to think like that, you know.
Completely hear you. There's this saying that women never forget how they were treated when they were giving birth.
Yeah, 100%. And that sticks with you for life, doesn't it? That's one thing you never forget. And, you know, you'll tell your kids, you probably tell your grandkids, you share these stories, don't you? And you don't forget these things. And if it's a nice experience, it's such a nice story to tell your grandkids and your children. And if it's not, obviously that stays with you for life, and, you know, you never forget it.
So tell me this, then. Having a baby is a very crucial experience that a woman, a family goes through. What about the early kind of weeks after having a baby? What do doulas do in that period? And I mean, that's a huge transition for a lot of women. I'm sure you will agree that
Yes.
when you go from particularly your first pregnancy, when you've not ever had a baby, to having your first baby, it's a huge shift in your identity, isn't it?
Yes.
How do doulas help in that period? Like, how often do you see mums, and what does that look like?
So for me, it really depends on each client. So some mums may book me 30, 40 hours after they've had a baby. They don't want me to come around for 3-4 hours a day. And in those time frames, it's really making sure that mum is well nourished and really well looked after. Because, having a happy mum, she's going to be a happy mum and she's a healthy mum to look after her baby mentally as well. So like I said, you mother the mother. I go in, I'll do a bit of cooking for her, I'll make her all the healing food. I help with breastfeeding, like positioning and attachment. So mum's breastfeeding her baby and I'm feeding the mum. So she's feeding her baby and I'm feeding her. Yeah, because I know mums tend to neglect themselves. They're like, oh, we're eating a bit, and it's all about the baby. But mum needs a lot of care as well, a lot of care. Her hormones are everywhere. She's feeling very emotional. She's just had a baby, and your body's done such a big thing, and I feel like it's so important that we offer this support to these mums. So, I'll hold the baby while mum goes and has a little bit of a sleep. She goes and has a shower. I'll hold the baby, I'll change the baby's nappy, I'll feed the baby. So it's whatever each mum wants from me and how I can support her journey, her next journey with her baby. So they all vary, but it's really there to really mother the mother and really take care of her and look after her.
Yeah, such an important thing, because we know that 1 in 5 women post-birth end up, or during the perinatal period from pregnancy up until after birth, will end up with either anxiety or depression that's directly been caused by them being pregnant and all of those hormonal changes and probably other things that are going on in their life. I have a question for you, because we've got lots of comments on here. Do doulas ever attend a birth instead of a midwife, Shabana?
Not in my experience, no. I've never attended a birth. Like I said, we're not medically trained, so I would never deliver a baby personally. And I don't think other doulas, I've never come across a doula that has just delivered a baby. So we always like to work with the midwife and provide that care together.
Brilliant. Thank you for clarifying that. And another question is, as a doula, how long do you support a mum in the postnatal period? What is the time frame that you're with them for?
So it all depends on mum again. So it depends how many hours they book me for. I can be there for the first 6 weeks. I can do the first 3 weeks. So it all varies on mum. Some mums are really happy to continue after the 3rd week. They're happy to let go of me. I can do 45 hours per day for them, 5 days a week. So I'm going and checking upon them, see how they're getting on. Some mums just want to have a talk about their birth. A lot of mums want to just talk about their birth and just go through it with me, So it all varies on per mum. Some mums have a bit of support network because I've got extended family as well. Some don't have any support, so they will keep me on a bit longer. So I'm happy to provide that postnatal care for as long as mum needs me.
That's amazing. What an amazing service that you are providing to these families. You just said that mums, some of them like to talk about birth. Talking about your birth is actually a really good thing to do after you've had a baby, and I've noticed a lot of women tend to do this. They try to order what happened so that they can make sense of it.
Yes.
Tell me, what are the kind of things that mothers tell you about their birth when you've cared for them?
A lot of them can't believe they've actually delivered a baby. Honestly, when they talk to you, they're like, oh, Shabana, we can't believe we did it. Because they've had so much anxiety and they were so worried during their pregnancy, because they hear a lot of horror stories from other people. So once they've had this baby, many do say we can't believe we've done this, but some are so appreciative that I've been there with them on their journey and how I've made it easier for them through their pregnancy and to have this baby. And so many are so positive. They never thought they'd be able to have a baby, some of these mums.
Really?
Honestly, they don't believe in themselves. And, my job is to keep uplifting these mums to believe in them, because our bodies are made to do this. So mums are just so shocked, I think, that, oh, wow, we actually did this. So there've been some really positive stories, and they really appreciate the support that I do offer.
That's amazing. And what about partners? If they happen to have partners, how do they feel about doulas? Because I'm going to say that it's definitely not the norm in our community.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that's growing lots of traction, because we know more and more women are leaving their births feeling traumatised in the UK than ever before. So something's changed probably in the system and in society and our expectations around birth and how birth is happening. Things are changing, that's impacting people's outcomes. And I know that often men from diverse backgrounds, they're quite happy that they've got a healthcare professional there, and we feel safe, there's a midwife or a doctor there. What's the men's response to having a doula there?
So the experience I've had has been really, really positive. Women relate to women. We know our bodies. We have the same body. We've been through it. I've been through it, So dads are so appreciative as well. They're so happy that we're there to support mum, and we support the dad as well. There might be a time when dad needs a bit of a break. He might need to go to the toilet. He might need to have a bit of a snack, you know. So he's not worried to leave his wife with me because he knows there's a doula there. She's going to be looking after my wife. She'll be attending every need, and he could go and get a break or go and pray in between or whatever else he needs to do. So dads are really happy that we are there, you know. We guide the dad as well, so they feel very involved in the birth as well. We're not the type of people that shun dads out and think dads can't get involved. No, we really get them involved in everything. So they're really happy with that guidance. You know, they say to me that we were so happy that you were there and you guided us along the way of how we could support our wives. So it's been really positive.
That's so amazing to hear. So I'm just going to let you know we've got a break coming up soon. That's half an hour gone, which has gone so quick, and Shabana's sharing such great insight, and I hope that everybody that's listening is finding all of this information very useful. Just remember that you can contact us, and we would love it if you did contact us. We want more and more people to get involved with maternity and midwifery, because having babies is one of the most crucial things that's going to happen in anyone's lives, and we know that there's people in our communities that like to have lots of babies. So please remember that we're here for you. Tune into our show. If you want to get in touch, just send us an email, text or call us. If you want to text us or call us, it's 017 33602 133, or you can email us on info@salamradio.co.uk. We will be back after a very short ad break. See you soon.
You're listening to Salam Radio, and it's now time for Zohar Azan. This Azan is sponsored by UK Islamic Mission, serving humanity since 1962.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Welcome back to Salam Radio 106.2 FM. You're listening to Faiza and the lovely Shabana, who is a local doula, and you are listening to the Midwifery Insights show. Thank you so much for everyone that's been commenting on the Facebook thread. We're so happy that you're out there listening. Just to let everybody know that you can contact us on our show. If you would like to talk to us, all you have to do is either text us on 01733 602 133 or email us on info@salamradio.co.uk. Our Facebook page, both Rahman Project and Salam Radio, you can comment on the thread and we will pick up any of the comments afterwards. So if you're out there listening and you need any help, please do reach out to us. Now I'm going to come back to this lovely lady sat in front of me, and we've been talking about who doulas are, what they do and how they help you. And I think let's move forward, Shabana, onto how much does a doula actually cost? And why would someone pay for one?
So doulas vary prices depending on the training they've had done, maybe the experience they've had to support mothers. So they do vary from about £500 up to about £1,800, but it really varies on who you go with. A lot of mums I talk to really like to invest in a doula. You know, they've started to spend less on clothing, nursery furniture, for example, because they feel like this really important stage of their life, and giving birth is such a big thing. They want all the support they want. I mean, all the support that they can get, making their birth a lot easier, having that support. And then once they go home, they're in a better frame of mind as well. They're really positive. They've had a really great outcome. They've had less interventions. They've had someone there to advocate for them. And you know, I always tell mum, it's your body, your birth. You have choices, you know. So mums really want to invest in this period. So, you know, more and more mums are thinking, you know what, it's something that we're going to pay for now, because NHS can't offer this. Midwives, bless them, are very busy as they are. And this is something that doulas can offer. So a lot of mums they're happy to invest in a doula going forward.
I hear you. Why a doula over, say, a private midwife? Would you know if there's a difference?
I'm not really sure on that, to be honest.
Fine.
Yeah, well, could you give me some insight on that?
I mean, I do know that when it comes to independent midwifery, I think because it's a medical form of support that's being provided, they do often charge a lot more money because they have to pay a certain fee for insurances.
Yes.
Whereas I guess with doulas, because you're not providing the fee for the insurances, the rates must be a lot less.
Yes.
Because independent midwifery care, the whole package, you're looking more like about £5,000-ish plus, roughly, and that's a very rough guess. So please don't hold me to account if you're listening to me out there. You'd have to speak to independent midwives to really know how much that is. But it sounds like you're offering a real value for money, really, in return to people.
I think so. You know, we really do go above and beyond for these mums. We really take that time out. You know, there's been births that I've attended at, and they've lasted 24 hours. So, you know, I am away from home, my children, my husband, and I'm out there providing this service, the best care for these mums, you know. So, you know, mums love that extra attention, that extra care, that extra love. And they're so happy that we're there to support them.
Say if there was a mum who was struggling financially, Shabana, because we know there's a huge cost of living crisis right now. And we also know that women from black, brown and mixed ethnicity communities, diverse communities, are having poorer outcomes. Say if there was somebody who wanted support to have a doula and they wanted the doula for free, where can mums go to have that need met? Like, are there charities that might offer subsidising, or does a hospital ever support to get somebody a doula? Have you ever heard of this?
Yes, well, I did have a client that was referred to me by a midwife because she didn't have any family support. She was quite a young mum, and she needed that emotional, physical support. It was her first baby, and she was going to go in alone. And mentally, this mum needed that support, so she was referred to by a midwife. A midwife got in contact with me. She thought I'd be great to support her. So they go through this thing called like an access fund. So they have like a little pot of money. Certain groups like Doula UK, etc., they have like a small pot of money for these types of mums. They don't obviously pay us what we charge, but it's like a kind gesture to say thank you for supporting these mums, and that's something I am happy to do. You know, I love supporting these mums, and when I hear some of these stories that these mums haven't got anyone and they're very young and they've got no family network or support, I'm really happy to go and support these mums. For me, it's not really about the money. You know, money's nice, but it's about supporting these mums and giving them a really good birth experience.
Completely hear you. And you just mentioned, Shabana, that about your family. What do you have to give up as a doula to be present for these families? Because you also mentioned that some births can take a lot longer. And if you happen to have first-time clients, I assume their births are taking a little bit longer than somebody who's had babies before vaginally, because we know that that's generally the pattern. So what do you give up? Or what does it cost for you to be a doula when it comes to your family? How do you balance that?
Yes, it can get a bit tricky at times because I've got 3 boys at 3 different schools, but I have an amazing husband. I have to say credit is due where it is, and he really supports me with my work, and I couldn't do it without him, to be honest, you know. So the weeks he knows that, you know, I can be on call, because I'm on call from 38 weeks onwards, he tends to work more from home, so he can keep an eye on the kids, he can go and pick the kids up, he can give them dinner. So I get a lot of support from that aspect. I feel like if I didn't have him, it would be very difficult to be on call, because, you know, I get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning, it could be at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'll go off, but I know my kids are in safe hands, their dad's home, their dad's keeping an eye on them. So, you know, I'm really grateful I have got a supportive husband that can help me with this, because without him, it'd be really difficult to be a doula.
Oh, that's really nice of you to share that, actually. So thank you to Shabana's husband for always providing her with that support. And it is important because actually when you work in the birth work field, you absolutely need to have that support because you're constantly nurturing somebody else, aren't you?
Yeah.
So in order to nurture somebody else, sometimes we need to be nurtured. We need things to be taken off our plate so that we can be present for other people. Somebody just commented saying such a lovely and kind gesture by Doula UK regarding the funding that they give. So Shabana, tell me how someone can become a doula. What do you have to do to become a doula?
So I did my training with the developing doulas.
Okay.
So I saw like an advertisement on online, and I thought, oh God, this is exactly what I want to go into. So I reached out and emailed them, and then I had a conversation with one of the teachers, and we had it all online because it was during COVID. And then I think we met up once when you were allowed to meet up people again. So I did it all online. So I think it's between 8 to 12 weeks training from what I remember. And you get a really nice insight into the birth world, supporting mums emotionally and physically, the do's and don'ts, what we can do as a doula, what we can't do. You learn quite a lot about breastfeeding, supporting mums through their breastfeeding journey. So it's a really nice insight. So, you know, I'm sure there's lots of people that provide training. I'm sure Doula UK do as well, developing doulas do. I'm sure there's many more out there as well. So you get your training done and then you can go into that field.
Amazing. And I guess you have to look around what's out there and see which doula company or program feels like the right one for you. And then did you feel supported during your training?
Yeah, I did. I had a really great teacher, you know, Verena. I'm sure you know her. And she was really supportive. You know, she was there for any questions, any queries, you know, things I wasn't sure about. But once we do our training, we have a mentor.
Okay.
So I've got an amazing mentor called Zara. She's from Surrey. And she's just been a godsend, to be honest. You know, she was there for every birth I've had. You know, so I'd go back to her and let her know how my birth got on, any improvements I could make, something I wasn't really sure about. So she really was there to hold my hand along my journeys of birth, you know. And so you do get quite a lot of support even once you've done your training, you know, and your mentors are amazing. You know, no question's ever a silly question, or, you know, if you can ask them the same question 10 times and they'll never say, oh, you've already asked us that question, you know. They're absolutely amazing. So I've been really fortunate and I've had some lovely people guiding me along the way.
Oh, that's so lovely. And if you were to encourage somebody else out there who's listening, wanting to become a doula, what would you say to them? there any tips of when they should do it, or what would your advice be to them?
I'd say follow your heart. You know, if you've got that passion and drive that you want to support these mums during pregnancy, you know, you've got the time. You know, time's really important. You know, I've got a lot of doula friends that have got very young babies, so they do more postnatal work than actually birth doulas, because they can't be on call from 38 weeks because they've got their own babies or toddlers at home. But I think go for it. If you've got the passion and drive to support these mums and for these mums to have a better outcome, you know, with birth, go for it. There's nothing holding you back, you know.
Yeah, completely hear you. We've got a good question that's come in. Shabana, how do mums find the right doula for them?
So what mums do is that they go on Doula UK, or they put in doulas in their hometown, and they'll have a quick read through their profile. And then what mums do is that they'll have maybe 2 or 3 doulas in mind. So they'll pick up the phone and have a conversation with these mums, with these doulas. And sometimes we meet up in person as well. We'll go for a coffee. So it's really informal, relaxed to kind of get together. We'll have a coffee and stuff. And then mums can decide who they bonded with, who they clicked with, who they feel like they can form a relationship with, and who, going forward, who they're going to be happy to work with, you know. Because doulas offer different things. You know, it's all catered for the mum. So I think talking to a few doulas, mums then get an insight of, actually, this one's going to work for me. She feels like she's the right person for me. So, you know, they do talk to quite a few before they make their mind up. And same with doulas as well, you know. We have a lot of mums that approach us and maybe it might not be the right mum for us. You know, you want to bond, you want to click, you know. And sometimes I know when I think, actually, I don't think we're going to be good for each other. So, you know, mums can walk away, we can walk away, we can just leave it there. So I think it's nice to trial and test out a few and then take it from there.
Very good suggestion, Shabana. We've got another comment from Arsia. Having a doula support decreases the overall caesarean rate by 50%, the length of labour by 25%, the use of oxytocin by 40%, and requests for an epidural by 60%. The power of touch and massage reduces the anxiety and stress of birth, and I would completely second that, Arsia. What's your experience, Shabana?
I fully agree with that, fully agree. Most of my mums love to be touched. They want to be hugged. They want to be kissed. They want to be told they can do it. And they love massage. They love me massaging their back. You know, we have such a nice environment. We have the lights dimmed down. We'll have the candles going. You know, we'll have a bit of music or part of the Quran that they want playing in the room. So I think that's really important. And I really agree with what Arsia said. It's really important to have those.
And you said having the Quran playing, does that mean your clients are mainly Muslim, or are you open to being a doula for all communities?
Yes, so I'm a doula for all communities, but I've had many Muslims. So, and a lot of them do want the Quran playing in the background, which helps them through their birth and something for them to listen to and take their mind off things. So, but I'm happy to work with everybody. Yeah.
And what about women having doulas? It says that, you know, just having that right environment, having that advocacy, that information, that support, it can decrease the need for an epidural. Does that mean if you have the right supported environment, you feel labour pain less, or labour's less painful?
I think it probably still is painful, but we kind of distract them, don't we? We're getting them up to go on the ball, on the birthing ball. You know, we're taking these mums to the toilet. We're really supporting them and pushing them to not just to lie in the bed, to get up and try different positions, do different things. And I think we kind of take that pain away from them. You know, so I think if they're just lying on that bed, they're going to feel every contraction, they're going to feel every pain. I'm not saying it's, you know, pain-free. Of course it's going to be, you're going to have some pain. But I think having doulas there and supporting them and distracting them, you know, a lot of mums like the massage. They want to go on the birthing ball, you know, so we constantly have a bit of sip of water. Come on, let's go to the toilet. Let's do this. So we're keeping them busy. And while we're keeping them busy, they're dilating, which they don't even know that they're dilating. Before we know it, it's time to have this baby, you know. So I think it's really useful having doulas, because we do distract them. You know, we get them in the pool, in the water. Mums tend to go to sleep sometimes in the water and stuff. So like to get a bit of rest and energy together before they birth this baby out. So I think we're really good at distracting them. And before they know it, they're ready to have this baby.
You know, interesting you say about distracting, because I remember my mother-in-law telling me that when she gave birth to her first baby, that she was told in the village that she's from, you need to go around and give food or something to all of these different houses. And I look back and I think clearly they were trying to distract her. Yeah. Why is it important that you are distracted in labour?
I think it's really important because then you're not concentrating on the actual pain itself. And then with pain comes other issues and fears and anxiety. And I think it's so important to keep mums distracted and keep telling her, every contraction you're closer to having your baby. Keep it positive. Keep these mums busy. And that's what we tend to do. We keep them positive. We keep them busy. And, a lot of mums say, oh, wow, are we 10 centimetres all right already? Like, we can't believe that we're 10 centimetres already and we're going to have this baby, So I think that's really important. And just mums lying on that bed. We know having a baby on the bed, on your back, is like one of the worst positions. And a lot of hospitals don't really encourage mums to get up. So I think as doulas, we really do get these mums up. We give them a bite to eat. We'll keep them hydrated. If they're sweating, we'll keep them patted down with flannels. We use like positivity in that room. There's a lot of positivity. And we tell these mums they can do it. And they do.
Absolutely, they do. And one of the most important hormones, or a important hormone that women have in labour, is your oxytocin, your love hormone. And to make this hormone come out, women do need to feel safe. And I guess if they're feeling supported, essentially they're feeling safe, so that hormone will come out in abundance, which means, inshallah, labour will progress so much more easily. And I have seen that a lot myself, Shabana, where there's more fear and tension, there's more anxiety, labour's more painful than it usually is. It's not to say that women who don't have those hormones find it less or more painful, but there's definitely something about when you feel safe and secure and your oxytocin is high, that women seem to cope better with labour.
Yes, definitely. And I've seen that in all the births that I have supported mums in, keeping the positivity going, encouraging them, telling them they can do it. That's what they need to hear, some of these mums, and they do it. So, I think it's really important to have those feelings in those rooms at that time.
Are there mums who turn around and say, but they can't do it though, Shabana? At any stage in labour, do they ever get to a stage where they say, no, I can't do it, Shabana?
Sometimes they do, yes. I've experienced that as well. Where they think, do you know what, that's it, let's go in for a C-section. I'm not having this baby anymore. I can't do it. I'm exhausted, I'm tired, And it's just about, with a few gentle words and a bit of love, just to get these mums up again, get them going, because I know they can do it. I really believe in these mums, and obviously unless it's an emergency and they've got no choice but to go in for a C-section, that's out of your control. But there are mums that say, actually, no, we can't do it. That's it. We're tired, we're exhausted. It's not this baby out now. Let's get C-section done. And then with a bit of love and encouragement, I get these mums up. And, before we know it, we've had this baby.
Yeah, that's so nice. Say if they do happen to end up with a cesarean birth, do you go in with them then, or do they take, who do they take?
They take their partners with them, with their husband with them.
Yeah.
Yes, so there are a few C-sections that I have gone to, the partner goes with them. But then I support them on the recovery unit, so because they prefer me to be there instead of the husband, so I can help dress the baby, put a nappy on the baby, support mum as well. So once they're in the recovery unit, I'll support mums then.
So it sounds like you've had quite a vast experience of supporting people, not just from pregnancy to low risk births and then births that might have needed a bit more intervention.
Yeah, I think I've seen everything, to be honest. I've seen lots of different things happen to different women. So I think I've got a wide range of experience for different mums. But there have been some beautiful stories and, really positive stories. I do come out of a birth feeling really happy most times. I'm really happy the mum's got what she wanted. The birth plan we spoke about together, she got everything on that birth plan that she wanted. Once I've left the hospital, she's a happy mum. She's positive. She's got her baby on her breast. She's feeding her baby. And I leave home I'm exhausted, but with a big smile on my face. I'm buzzing. I think I'm going to go home and get into bed, but I can't because I'm so excited. We just had a baby.
Your adrenaline and oxytocin is really high. Oh, that's so nice. There is definitely a huge oxytocin hit when you are around birth and you see birth, or when you're around just that period. It does raise your own oxytocin, and some people joke. So Verena and me will sometimes joke. It's like a dopamine hit for us as well. When you're around somebody, it's just amazing to be around.
Definitely.
I wonder if you might want to touch on any of the experiences you've had when you've supported somebody and what birth was like. Does anyone kind of stand out for you without obviously identifying the person? But is there any birth experience that you've been part of that you just remember thinking, this one really stands out? And what's the reason it stands out, Shabana?
Yeah, so there was one mum that I supported, but I was just so impressed in how strong she was. I think that I just thought to myself, wow, this mum has got this. She stood throughout the whole process. she was just rocking and swaying, and I was giving her sips of water, massaging her back. But I just admired her. She never screamed. She never said, I'm in pain. She never said, I can't do this. She was so positive. She was so gentle, so sweet. And every time I offered her a sip of water or a back massage, she'd keep thanking me. I've just never seen a woman birth so beautifully. And she was so polite. I was like, why do you keep saying thank you to me? This is what I'm here to do, And she kept saying thank you for everything I did to her. And she was just so calm. And that birth really stood out to me. Before we knew it, she was on her feet throughout. And before we knew it, she was 10 centimetres dilated. And that birth really stuck out to me. And I thought, wow, she stayed active on her feet throughout until she was 10 centimetres. And that's one birth I don't think I'll ever forget. I was just so impressed with her strength. Amazing. And how she kept so calm and relaxed, and she was so positive. So that's a birth that I think I'll never forget.
And a question then, because you must have spoken to this person, was labour painful for her? Was it hard for her, even though she looked like she was coping well? Very,
very hard. Yeah, she goes, it's one of the hardest things she's ever done in life. She didn't realise it was going to be this difficult and this hard. But she just, instead of this mom concentrated more on her breathing, I felt, more on other types of like comfort measures I was giving her. She didn't waste her energy, shall I say, on her screaming and I can't do this and all the negative. There was no negativity. Everything was so positive. And the way she just breathed through those contractions, I think I was so impressed. On her feet, she didn't sit down once. And even when I said, oh, do you want to have a bit of a rest? Do you want to have a little sit down? Or she goes, no, I'm fine. I'm happy to stand up. And she just rocked and swayed throughout. And I was just so impressed with her. So that's, I think, one birth that's going to stay with me forever.
How amazing. And actually being active in labour, being upright, standing in a position or leaning in a position where your pelvis is open, is really important to help your baby get much lower, right, Shabana? So being active, what can you say about that?
I 100% agree. I've seen different births of mums that do get onto the bed because they're exhausted, obviously they're tired, but they have such longer labour, and then they need more intervention sometime as well. That's why I really do encourage these mums, let's get up, let's try this, let's do a bit of this, let's do that, And I feel like the more active mums stay during labouring, they're going to have a really nice, lovely, easy birth as well. So a lot of mums do tend to stay active. A lot of them tend to stay active in their pregnancy as well. They do some like exercises, they'll go for their walks and stuff. So they've got a really good habit during pregnancy, and then they adopt it while they're labouring as well, and they want to stay active. And some say to me, look, if we sit down or get on that bed, you make sure you get us back up again, because we don't want to be lying on that bed having this baby, So I do support them. I do get them back up again, and and they thank me so much after that. We're so happy we didn't have that baby on our back,
Is it harder to push a baby out when you're lying on your back?
I've seen a couple, and it's very difficult, and mums do struggle, and they do tend to give up sometimes at the end, and they need a lot of encouragement to say, you can do this, So I would definitely go for staying active, trying different positions, and try not to have your baby on your back on the bed.
I hear you. Okay, so on that note, Asia said, sounds like a hypnobirthing mum, and using gravity and the power of breathing, which is a really powerful tool that you actually have when you're having a baby, something that I have seen every mother I know use, and it's something that's a bit of an art that you have to kind of practice and get used to doing, I'd say. Asia also said amazing work, Shabana. There's another question. Have you had a mother give birth to a premature or sick baby and they needed neonatal care?
No. Not yet. No,
okay.
That's something I haven't experienced yet.
Fine,
yes.
Okay. So
have you, Faiza?
Yes, lots. I would say enough to feel quite confident caring for mums. So I'd say supporting mums when they've had preterm births is something I've done quite a lot. And often with preterm babies, when they are coming pretty rapidly. They know that they want to be on this side of the world, and then afterwards as well, actually, if they've needed any support. So that's probably one thing that we are trained to do, like support babies to make that transition when they're newborn to like breathing, making sure their heart's working. But we work very collaboratively at that point of time. Those babies probably need a bit more support, so you'll always have like a pediatrician there. You may or may not have an obstetrician there, but pediatricians is probably what you need. If it's a preterm baby that's being born, and the only issue they have is their prematurity, then really a midwife and a pediatrician work quite well together.
Okay.
But if you have a preterm baby that's got other complications going on, or they need a bit more support, then you'll find the obstetricians are also there, and we work kind of in a collaborative way to give families the care that they need.
And what about the mums? What are the mums like in these situations?
I think, to be honest, Shabana, there's always an element, particularly if it's the first time it's happening to you, of like shock and surprise. Like, why is my baby being born so soon? Like, I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't planning for this. And I guess the more premature you are, the more of that element of shock and just getting your head around it comes to that mother. Now, I'm going to have to really wind the conversation down, Shabana, on that
hour
note.
gone already?
An hour has gone already.
Wow.
It has been fascinating talking to you. You are doing such a fantastic job out there in the community. And to anyone that's listening, if you do have any questions, please remember that you can reach out to us. You can call or text on 01733 602 133 or email us on info@salamradio.co.uk. You can also comment on the Facebook threads that we've got going at the moment. Now, I'm really interested to keep reaching out to other people in our communities who are specialists in topics to do with birth, post-birth. So if you're listening out on this show and you happen to be anything in the birth world, including obstetricians and pediatricians, and you're interested in supporting diverse communities, please reach out to us. We would love it if you messaged us directly. Take care,
Stay
everyone.
tuned to Salam Radio after this short